Girls, did I ever tell you the story of how your great 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 great
12 seconds later.
great 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 grandfather created the first real dictionary for English words?
Yes, Dad, we learned about it at high school, but we don't really care about that kind of stuff.
Well, you're going to remain there because I'm gonna tell you the story anyway and you're gonna hear it. How can I start? Yes, of course. England. So kids, pay attention because the backstory is quite important for this part of the story. Here's the situation in England in the past, but this was a long time ago. Maybe not that long ago, come on. Okay. As the two of you should know already, in the beginning of the 1600s, Queen Elizabeth died without leaving any children behind. So her cousin came all the way from Scotland to become King James I. And by the middle of the century, the responsible for the throne was his son, Charles I. But Charles wasn't a very popular king, so his reign ended in the fairest and calmest way possible. He was executed. What?
How long is this gonna take? Are you being punished for something?
As a matter of fact, yeah, you are. Your mom is still pissed about what you did this weekend.
Oh my god, move on. That was a school thing.
That's still not enough reasoning for you to microwave a Barbie. Let's just move on. Where was I? Oh, okay. Charles was killed.
Who cares about him?
Well, his kids kinda cared, I guess. His son, wait, that's Cher, I'm sorry. Okay, so his son, Charles II, came to England in 1660, where he ruled for over 20 years until the day of his death. After these happenings, James II, who was his brother, took his place and became king. But James was so unpopular that he made his father seem like one of the popular girls at school, and left England a few years later, leaving the crown of England to these two, Mary II, who was his daughter, and William III, who was his nephew. And yes, these two were married.
But Dad, what does any of that have to do with the dictionary?
I'm glad you asked. Well, with all these changes plus the constant growth in the English vocabulary made people hungry for order and regularity in their lives and language. One of these people was the author Jonathan Swift, who was listening to one of his cousin's music when he noticed something really strange.
Wait a second, these lyrics don't make any sense. We need grammar rules to control our language.
Yeah, I know. What a genius. Unfortunately, his idea never succeeded.
Já procurou alguma vez hotel na internet?
No! God, please, no! No! No!
Now to the dictionary. Well, there were already dictionaries back in the day, but they were either Latin English or they would only cover hard words of the language. You know, those words which are way too hard to pronounce or those which even I would not be interested in.
Dad, we're leaving, okay? Exactly, bye.
Wait, I need to tell you something. The internet is off and I'm not gonna turn it on until the end of the story, so you should just, come back here. We're almost there, come on. Now, where was I? Yes, that's right. The dictionaries were either Latin English ones or only covered complicated words. But there was this one man who was working on a dictionary for over 9 years when he finally finished it. But this guy over here was no ordinary man. He was your great 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 great.
Trivago compara os preços de mais de 700 mil hotéis.
Great 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 grandfather Samuel Johnson. That is Johnson, not Johnson. Anyway, his dictionary was different from others that were available back in the day because he covered a lot more words, especially simpler ones, and had examples on how to use them. But here's the thought. His explanations were sometimes more complicated than the words were meant to be in first place. And there were some words that he didn't even include in the dictionary just because he didn't like them. I'm not saying this just because he's part of the family, but his dictionary really was the first real dictionary for English. And the other ones... well, if you're ever bored in a library, those are the books you are allowed to set on fire.
Is that all?
In some ways, yes. His dictionary was considered the most important one in Britain for over a century. Time was passing and guidance with vocabulary was commonly coming from dictionaries. And guidance with grammar rules was commonly coming from grammars. You know, like the one Oxford book that every English teacher has? That's a grammar. With dictionaries popping up every year, these grammar books also began to appear to teach how English should be spoken, or simply the way it was normally seen in serious writings. Even though some people still believe that there's only one correct way of speaking English, the majority happily believes that all varieties of the language are correct. And that's the end of the story. Did it hurt that much to stay here until the end? Now, do you girls wanna hear the story of How I Met Your Mother? Great, I'm gonna take your silence as a yes. But I promise to take you to the dinner when we're done. But only if you behave until the end of the...
Olá, boa noite. Começou mais o Jornal Nacional. Hoje a professora...
Aguentou 20 segundos.
Just because I fall, now we will share my ice cream cone.
Tá, vai.
Liliana, eu sei que vai te contar. Eu sou Hannah Montana. O quê?
Não são as mais fáceis. Cara, por que riu?